I think you want to tell me about Superman.
Oh
what
my
is
God,
going
Henry
on?
Cavill. So Henry Cavill, I love Henry Cavill because he's a incredibly handsome, like 6'4" British actor who's also a nerd somehow. Like he's into like the nerdiest of nerd shit. He's super into Warhammer 40K, like that goofy shit that I'm
He's the
so
hero
into.
that we all needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like, but he's also like the Chad of Chads, right? He is Superman, or he was. They just had told him like a month ago, I think. They'd be like, "Hey, we're set here. You're Superman. Here are the numbers." And he's like, "Yeah, numbers look good. I'm Superman." And now they come back around and they're like, "Actually, James Gunn has talked with, I can't remember the other gentleman's name, but the guy at Warner Brothers. They've discussed this thing, and you're out as Superman. We're rebooting Superman. We're doing a young Superman. We're going to see Superman meet Lois Lane and Jimmy, and we're getting to see all that again. And you're Henry Cavill. You can't be the adult hardcore Superman." And so they fired him essentially like yesterday, and he announced that. And he'd already been essentially walked away from The Witcher because of their writing staff being such. They seemingly hate The Witcher, I guess, of the people who are writing the Witcher show. And they want to insert their own sort of political agenda into it. And so he didn't like all that. Or he didn't like something they were writing. Whether that's my take on it. But he didn't like the writing, so he separated. Mm-hmm. So now he doesn't have a job, right? And I was almost feeling...
Henry Cavill.
Right. Well, what I mean is he doesn't have anything taking his attention. He's not focused on anything right now. He's got time on his hands. And so the links over there, Zach, like I'm so psyched because I know I was hoping and praying, and I even saw people on the 40K subreddits that I'm on that people were like, "Hey, he's available now. He could do it," because he's always talking about doing a 40K movie or TV series, and apparently he got somebody at Amazon to finance the goddamn thing. So he's producing and starring in a Warhammer fucking 40K series on Amazon. And
I wasn't sure where all this was going. I legit thought Kyle was going to make a pitch and say, "Henry Cavill, for $500, I'll play Darktide with you. I know you're."
He's playing Darkseid.
There's a Patreon level for there used to be.
There's no way that Henry Cavill does not play Darktide. I guarantee you're
going to have to carry his ass. He's only a fake nerd. He doesn't have
fake
time.
nerd.
I've seen interviews with him.
Nobody fakes painting those figurines.
No, they asked him. They're like. They asked him what his favorite army was, and he got into some nitty gritty shit.
Yeah,
like, he was like
on a fake nerd.
He started. He like name dropped 3 or 4 different kinds of armies, and he was like, "Well, there." It was the answer that a professional gives you. It was like when someone asks me, "What's your favorite gun?" It's like, "Well." Let's break them into subcategories.
The scenario we're talking about here. Yeah.
Do you mean the gun that meant the most to me, or the gun that was the most fun? Like, there's like 8 different cool answers I can give you to the thing to entertain you in one way or another. And that's how he was with like nerdy ass tabletop Warhammer. Normally, if I'd heard that Amazon was going to make a series about a property like this, like what they did with Lord of the Rings, for example, I'd be like, "Oh, okay, I won't even bother watching that probably." But the fact that he's attached and he's producing, I think, and starring in it would lead me to believe that he's got some juice over there at Amazon, and maybe he's making a show, because
I would imagine like he's a big guy. He also he just got fucked by the Witcher thing, them not like writing it true to lore or whatever. And so I bet he would go into something new like this, especially if he's as passionate as you say about it, and be like, "Listen, like it's got to be done this way. It has to be true to the lore that I'm addicted to." Like
there's so much lore.
The stories,
anything.
The thing is, like with Warhammer, the stories are already there and the lore is already there. You just have to like fill in the gaps with and like have your characters there. Like it's ready made, and it's 40,000 years of history, so you can kind of pick what kind of story you want. Do you want a story from a time when humanity was on the rise or on the decline? Do you want to see medieval knights? That happened. Do you want to see monster green people? You want to see alien like monsters? Do you want to like see like aliens that see them fight aliens that are smart and beautiful?
I reckon a cool way to do that would be
demons.
like season long fucking story arcs where like they can still have the same actors, but you know that like what was that horror show?
American Horror Story,
like an anthology series.
Yeah, so just anthology series, and then they just hit like fucking heaps of different
That's a
stories.
good
I reckon
idea.
that'd be fucking awesome because there's so many short and like novellas on that. It'd be
Warhammer really shines when in short story form. When you already know like the universe. I've heard it said that Warhammer 40K is a setting, not a story, and it is. So like once you know the setting, then a little short story can be stuck anywhere in the timeline, and you know what the chessboard looks like, and so you know where this piece like fits, and it all interweaves together really well. The stories are dark and awful. I just read Krieg last week. That was excellent. And now I'm reading an orc book. I don't remember the name of it, but I'm really excited to see that he's attached to this thing. I hope it happens and happens soon, because it's like a dream come true for so many fans of that universe. Because it seems like it's been getting bigger lately. Like I only discovered it like 2 years ago or something. And it seems like it's become, I mean, already like I've seen like a couple of big games have come out. Darktide has its issues, but there's also that Space Marine game that's 2 is dropping like sometime next year. That looks really cool.
They could just do so many cool things though, because they could just be like, oh, what's happening next season? It's like, oh, now we're focusing on a story with this like fucking Horus Heresy, and then we're going back to fucking this one's going to be about this character, and they could just switch in between. It's basically fucking a license to print money, because
you could just go to any battlefield on any planet. It doesn't matter who's fighting or what they're fighting over. It's cool. Like all the stories are cool. Like some of the monsters that show up are just so horrific. It's the nastiest stuff you've ever heard of. Like they've got guns that shoot maggots that bore into your eyeballs and into your brain. Yeah. It's like, why?
That's like worse than a bullet. That's
no.
I mean, as far as like efficacy, like if I shot super sharp knives at you slowly, like you'd probably appreciate that.
But it's an organism, so it's not like a person who went and made a gun in a factory that does that. It's a monster that's been genetically engineered by a hive mind. Like there's this hive intelligence that
genetically engineer them to shoot fucking bullets.
So one of the enemies in Warhammer 40K, so it's a galactic sort of like setting, right? Like we're on Earth in this star system, and there's a million worlds on a million star systems in our galaxy. The Tyranids came from another galaxy. They're these like alien awful monsters, and they have sort of a hive intelligence. And when they get to a world they want to eat everything that's alive there and make it increase their biomass. When they do that, they might get shot by like anti-aircraft missiles. So they'll immediately start like thinking about how to breed a new bug to deal with anti-aircraft missiles or whatever they're dealing with. Oh, they've got armor. Let's make some monster that spits acid. Oh, they've got they'll send swarms of like bugs into the barrels of like the gun emplacements. It doesn't matter if a million bugs die as long as the guns stop shooting, so that the bigger bugs can land. And they're not all bugs. They're all sorts of just awful, just disgusting.
Man,
things.
I hope they make this show. That would be awesome.
Oh, to be sick.
The orcs are the coolest thing.
But yeah, the orcs have the best fucking lore.
The green skins.
I hope they don't make the show. I hope they start to make the show and it completely falls apart. And Henry Cavill's career hits the shitter and he becomes a Twitch streamer and we get to see him every day.
I fucking hate you. I hate you.
No,
Woody,
boo!
yes.
I want the cool show. After Kyle talked about the bug world, I really want
you, Woody.
Oh, the orcs are better. The orcs are were created. They're a race of beings that are a biological weapon from a time so far back that it's silly to assign a number to it. When two godlike races battled each other, one created the orcs to fight. Since then, now that war has been fought and lost or won, it doesn't matter anymore. The orcs have devolved into these mindless, stupid things. And first of all, they're half fungus, half biological organism. They're sexless. They grow out of the ground like fungus. They actually do, like Tolkien, spring out of the ground. And and so it doesn't matter if you slaughter them all. They're like spores or whatever got into the dirt. And if you don't go out with flamethrowers and scour the ground that they walked, they'll come back in a few years. They'll just grow back. When they
That's
win
a huge problem.
they've completely like devolved and forgotten the old ways. They used to be gigantic, smart, intelligent beings with like mental powers and stuff, and now they're just completely on instinct. Their technology works through this sort of combined mental telepathy where they believe that if you paint a car red, it'll go faster. And because they all believe it hard enough, it will go faster if they paint it red.
And they have like they're flying machines. They're like chant Skybird, and because everyone believes that it flies, and they're all like they have this like latent telepathic ability that they don't know about, but they chant Skybird enough, and the plane flies.
If you took an orc gun, if you took their machine gun and you ripped it apart, you'd find it was made out of pipes and metal boxes stuck together with bolts inside. It wouldn't make sense. It's working because they believe it works, and they have, and it's this mental telepathy power that just makes their shit work. And their entire industry, really cool. They have like a life form. It's not just orcs. There's a whole like there's a whole like family tree of organisms that are sort of related to them. So there's like these little squigs that hop around that have like 30 different purposes. Oh, that's a grease squig. They excrete like an oily, greasy substance that we use to lubricate our guns. like every little being in their little world is another green version of them that they use for a different thing. Some of them they just eat. There's a whole group of like
cruel. Like is it like the Flintstones where there's just like some fucking squig that just has a big mouth and they just shit in its mouth?
They have
giant. They have giant attacking squigs in Total War Warhammer.
Fantasy. Yeah, the fantasy version. Yeah. They have a gun that teleports a little. I can't remember if it's a grot or a squig. It's a little troll being, a little gremlin. It teleports that inside of whatever you're aiming at. So you might shoot it at a tank, and so all the little beings materialize inside of it. Shit, they make a point in all the literature of letting you know that immediately they begin fighting with everything they have. These little beings. And shitting everywhere. so sometimes, they might blast one inside your suit of armor with you. And so he just starts shitting and fighting and tearing you apart. He might be inside your body cavity.
You're getting infections. Yeah.
Well, you're just kidding. Warhammer 40K is really silly, really funny.
Just like a
really
human
dark.
kid.
And I hope they make something out of it because,
the only problem I can see them having is
Not me.
The only problem
they think I stream for a living. Make it work every day. Fucking hit the grind. 8 hours a day on Twitch.
Yeah.
Then I was living that pampered Hollywood life with craft
Get on that
services.
Sigma grind set.
Yeah, get on that Sigma grind
really
set.
At Tarkov.
Was that? I saw that tweet the other day. This guy's like, "Oh, I'm a teacher. My teacher asked me, if do you want $1 billion now or $10,000 every month for the rest of your life?" And the kid's like, "No, I want to pay you $10,000 a month for the rest of my life because then I've got something to grind for. Get on that grind set."
I've seen that name.
Fucking dumbest shit in the world.
What the?
It's like this.
It's like a meme that's making fun of. I remember seeing this post. It was like some unironic like fucking retard who was like, "If I was offered $1 billion or a dinner with a billionaire, I would take the dinner so I could get all the experience that they had." And everyone, of course, is like, the billionaire would tell you made a huge mistake in not taking the money, you dumbass. Like in your head, is that like smart? Like, whoa, this guy values knowledge in a way I can't even comprehend. It's like, shut up, dumbass.
Yeah. So one where he's like, if someone offered you $1 billion or a book on how to make $1 billion, which one would you take? And the guy's like, easy answer. I'd take the book and I'd read it 5 times and then I'd have $5 billion. Fucking dumb as shit.
See, now that's a high IQ maneuver.
That's great.
Galaxy
I think that
brain
guy's
level
actually
shit.
clever. Right? Because his answer is a troll.
Of course.
Oh man, they're all fucking trolls. I think like with the Warhammer shit, like the only problem they're gonna have is there's so many like races and armies and shit that it's just gonna end up a clusterfuck explaining them all. Like they need to just pick a specific one and just go with it. Like one storyline.
They'll have to know that if they do it, it'll be for like, an audience that doesn't know much about 40K.
Yeah, that's
so
the
they
other
would
problem
have
is
to.
that they're gonna have to
like,
dumb it down, and that's gonna make it shitty.
Well, not necessarily shitty. They'd have to like pick a team to really focus on and another team to really focus on, or they could just come in.
Is it that complicated? Because like
there's a lot of history in everything. So these are like races of things that have like 40,000 years of history, and all of them are like together. Like there's like, how many races is there? Like fucking,
I don't know.
heaps.
Kyle knows more than me. Just from the videos I've watched from like Luton and a couple of those guys on YouTube, like it's like you'll watch a video that's like kind of Warhammer 40K explained, and then like at the end of it, you're like, oh man, like I really don't understand it at all still, because they'll be like, 40,000 years ago, the Emperor revolted against blah blah blah, and then 3 minutes later in the video, they're like, and 15,000 years after that, like, and there's so much time. Like watching those Warhammer explained videos is like, all right, human history, Mesopotamia most likely. Bit of time in Egypt. We don't have time for Greece or Rome. Apologies. So something about the Mongols, Middle Ages, and then there's Trump did his NFT thing, like that. Bullshit.
Like human history is easy. It's like